Hi, this is Kathy, and I'm going to show you today how to make scrubbies from nylon mesh. I have mesh like this. You can make them any size. You can make them different shapes. And what I do is I go to the store and I buy 3 or 4 yards of nylon mesh, and I roll up the length of it so it's open all the way wide, and then roll it up into balls like this and cut about 2 inches at a time. See, this is something like 2 inches here. It doesn't always come out perfectly even, but it's good enough for making scrubbies. If you get 5 yards at a time, it's kind of thick when you get it all put together like this and you try to cut through. It's pretty heavy going, so 3 or 4 yards is probably good. What I do is I use a K-hook. By the way, where did it go? I'm looking. Oh, when you use them for a while, they get a little bit old and worn out. They're still good scrubbies. They're still rough. But if you don't like the way they look anymore, you can use them to clean the floor or some dirty spot, throw them away. And I have plenty. I can make more new ones. And they make really wonderful gifts. You can give these away for Christmas presents to some of your coworkers, the ones you want to give a little something to, or you can give them away for like a bridal shower to help with kitchen things, along with, I don't know, maybe some kind of a other gift, and put this on it with it. Anyway, here's what I'm going to do. I had the end here. Here's the end. And see, already I have a split end. So because it's rough, all you have to do is kind of run it together and it'll stick to itself pretty well. And there's really no rule about how wide you have to make these. So I'm just going to chain enough to make it look like about the width that I want it to be. Got kind of a choppy piece here. Alright, now I'm going to go back in the second hook, a second chain from the hook, and I'm just going to single crochet straight across. If you want to do a fancier stitch, you can do pretty much anything you want with these. You can make them really pretty. Or you can just make them very simple and utilitarian. Alright. It is a little rough on the fingers when you start sliding this mesh through, kind of like working with sandpaper, but if you do a few at a time and then give your hand a day or so to rest, then it's not too bad. But if you try to do 20 at a time, you're going to have kind of a red spot where it gets rubbed raw. I just chained one, I turned the corner, going back doing the same thing. Okay, almost to the end of this row. Now here's a little bit. I can weave that in to strengthen some place in here, or I can nip it off, no big deal. I'm going to show you, I have another one started. I'm going to show you how I join the pieces when I get to the end of a strip. Okay. See, here's the end of this piece. So I'm going to get close to the end, maybe about 3 or 4 inches from the end. And there we go. Now I get the end of this piece, and I'm just going to fold them together and twist them a couple times. And they really don't come apart. I'll just keep on crocheting now, and those pieces will just be joined in together. Don't have to make a knot. And you just carry on like that till you get to the end of the size you wish. Okay, now I'm going to show you one more thing. If you want to make them a little bit prettier, you can put a row around the outside edge like this. If it doesn't really matter, you can just leave them the way they are. Nothing fancy about them at all. They don't have to be pretty, they just need to scrub things. And if you want to have a thicker one, here again it might work easier if I just use the back side, because it would be kind of interesting to try to put these two together. So I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to grab, oh, let's take this yellow bit. Okay. Where's the end? I don't know how many yards I got to that one. Okay, so now I'm just going to put the hook through one of here and one here. It really doesn't matter. You can do this with rectangle ones as long as they're the same size. And because when you're making a round one, you would of course increase each row to make it a little bit flatter. But when you're doing the last row, that doesn't matter. You just do one stitch in each piece, in each stitch going around. And since I used the same size hook, they line up pretty well. It's not going to be really tough to do this. I think this is either 4 or 5 rounds for my circle. And you add 6 stitches to each round to make it work pretty well. It is a little stiffer than yarn, so you have to pull a little harder. And when you drag the stitch through, it wants to stick to itself, so you have to put a little bit more effort into this than you do with yarn. Another good reason not to do too many at one day. So don't get to Christmas Eve and then try to do 30 of them. It won't work at all well. Start at Thanksgiving. All right. we're getting there. Almost. Now this one's going to take longer to dry. If you're using it to scrub pots or something, you're going to have to put it in a place where it gets some air so that it can dry. The single thickness ones they dry pretty quickly. You still don't want to put them in a enclosed place because they'll start to smell if you have food on them or anything. But these double thick ones, they really need to be aired out. Make sure you give them somewhere to go that has an open space so they can completely dry. And there it is. We finished it. Ripped off the end, but we finished it. I think that'll be okay. If not, I'll find a way to tie it off. But there you go. One double thick scrubby. If I had put green on the outside edge, I would have a watermelon. This might be, what, a blood orange? Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed that, that you get some good ideas. And I will be back with something else that you may or may not be used to talking about. And we will have a few interesting videos on crochet. And I think that you might get some knitting from Heather. I'm not sure how her schedule will work out. But we're trying to make sure that you have some interesting information while the library is not available. We're going to try to stay available for you. So thanks for watching. Stay well and stay safe.